Lady, the problem isn't in my pants. Mex-Men.
Bruce, because that's how someone lays on a bed. Bruce, could you get me a towel?
Hey, Bruce doesn't even come back. It's Alfred.
I gave him the cum shot that he deserved, but not the one that he needed.
I think the quote's the other way around.
There's an actual porn?
No. No. The whole, like, you're the hero the city needs, but not the one it deserves. You said it reversed. You used it.
Yeah, and you didn't use
backwards.
Batman voice. So, looks like we're even
Yeah,
here.
whatever.
Welcome to this issue of Mex-Men. I'm Tony.
I'm Justin.
I'm Devin.
And you sound angry.
Yeah, because my Robin statue's dope, man.
What? No. It's Robin. It doesn't matter
Exactly.
what the stat
The
does.
boy wonder.
Oh, my gosh.
And today we're going to be covering the first issue of Uncanny X-Men and Giant Size X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, because our 50th episode.
50.
Our 49th episode.
I thought you said this was going to be for 50.
No.
That we were covering this.
No.
Or it's a two-parter, and you're saving Deadly Genesis for...
Well, because we had to do something for 49.
Gee.
This would make more sense as our 50th, but we had to have something for 49, so 50 and 51 are going to be Deadly Genesis.
Oh, none of that makes sense.
I mean, we could do Magneto's Testament today, but we haven't read it.
I don't care. It's 50 in my heart.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Well, it won't be on the downloads. Unless you guys can sneak in an episode real quick about something we haven't read yet.
You just cut it right here and upload it. That's just 49, and now we'll start 50.
But what are we going to post this week?
This one.
This is 49.
Yeah. Cut it right now.
All right. Thank you for listening to this issue of X-Men.
All right, so I got a shout-out.
Oh, jeez.
Marvel Unlimited.
The best.
PC
you guys
edition.
do some great work. We love you over here.
I have mixed feelings.
He's a woman scorned.
You're a lady.
Fuck you. I type in, because I tried to read this on their PC platform. It's garbage.
Is that your throat?
It's garbage. No, that was him. He gulped.
He means that in the best possible way.
Nah. I mean it in the worst possible way. But, because you type in Uncanny X-Men, and you get Rosenberg only. And that's cool, except I'm not looking for Rosenberg. So you type in Uncanny X-Men #1, and you get Rosenberg only. But there's like 500 something pages
Oh, it
to
sounds
try to
like a
find
plus to me.
it. Not if you're specifically trying to read the first issue of X-Men, man.
But if you type in Uncanny X-Men 1963,
You still don't get it.
you don't.
No.
What if you
I'm
just
saying
type
the
in
mobile
X-Men?
app got me to it immediately, and their PC platform sucks. But what the PC platform does have,
Platform?
what it does have, is an article titled "When Cyclops Was Right." I did not read it. I just needed the headline,
You click on it and it goes to
and
all
I'm
of
cool.
X-Men.
I'm cool. No, I clicked on it, and it was like a quick. It seemed like a recap from like the Astonishing era to Death of X, but I didn't have time to read it because I was doing the notes for this, and then I forgot to read it. So I'm just saying, you know what? I appreciate that you had it on there and that you admitted it somewhere. So we're all right now. Marvel
All
Unlimited.
was forgiven.
Now you just need to publish a book, Marvel, about just Cyclops being right.
It's probably gonna be my nicest shout out of the podcast.
So X-Men #1.
Yeah, which is an uncanny title, even though it's not titled Uncanny.
Yeah, it's titled The X-Men, which is also kind of weird.
And enter the X-Men by way of Professor Xavier alone in a room yelling, "X-Men, get out of here!"
He's just chilling in a chair. How do you even get in that chair?
Somebody picked him up.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
they-
around him.
They sat him down.
No, he got there with the chair, and then somebody kicked it. You could see Bobby, the way he's pole dancing there. He obviously swung in and kicked his chair away.
Yeah, Iceman with the stripper pole and fancy boots. There's no way Stan Lee meant for this character to be gay.
No, and his pole is attached to Angel's wing.
It is.
Oh, that's fantastic. So they all show up, and they're like, "We're present, Professor." And he's like, "I knew that because I'm psychic."
You know, also, I haven't read this before, but second page after the pole dancing, Beast is fisting Bobby.
Yeah.
Like shaking the snow.
Because they start fighting while Angel and Cyclops make the Professor comfortable.
So weird.
They're like, "Let's fluff your pillows. Let's get you. Let's.
It's not the only thing they're fluffing.
Let's take this blanket you already have on you and put it on you again."
They're tucking him in.
Oh Jesus!
Reclining in his chair. It's still weird that it's like a chair in the middle of a room with nothing else around.
Yeah.
It's the chair room.
The true.
Anyway, so he's like, "Awesome. Now that I'm comfortable, dance for me."
Guys, I can't feel my legs.
So he has basically they introduced the Danger Room without calling it the Danger Room. And he's like, "Beast, you first. Show me your moves."
Show me a move.
He's got no expression, too.
Show me your moves.
If you take off his word bubbles and his thought bubbles, it looks like they're playing with a doll. He makes no faces. Xavier, they're just like moving around this dude sitting in a chair.
And he's just a sex doll.
Oh. So yeah, Beast is all like, "Look at me being all acrobatic and shit." He's like, what was it? Something super specific? You got 1 minute and 4 seconds to do all these obstacles, and then he gets it all done. And then he's like, "All right, now Angel, show me what you got." Angel flies around. He almost sees his wings like hit by some weird clamp thing out of nowhere, just in the room.
Yeah,
it
just
makes
a
that-
thing of fire spouts out and almost hits
yeah.
him.
I like to imagine it makes that thwomp sound from Mario.
Thwomp.
Oh, like those giant rock guys that you hit.
Yeah, that fall down on you.
Or in Donkey Kong Country, or Donkey Kong 64, when you hit the big dudes, they're just like,
Yeah, and then he gets over to Iceman. He's like, "All right, Iceman, show me what you got." And Iceman's like, "I got a joke, because I'm a snowman. Look at this.
Yeah.
Carrot, broom, a hat. Come on."
Come
And
on,
Xavier's like,
Come on.
"Have you seen this face? It don't smile. It don't crack. I ain't gonna laugh." And he's like, "Beast, throw a bowling ball at him." Like, so fucking weird. Which, like, because he's the youngest, right? So he's not gonna get put through all, like, at least this is how I'm
Yeah, he's like
figuring
13.
it's being rationalized. He's the youngest, so he's gonna get the least dangerous thing. And
Bowling
it's
ball.
gonna be a guy with super strength throwing a bowling ball at him. And he turns it into like some weird shoot thing. And the bowling ball goes in and flies back out toward Beast. And it almost hit the Professor, so Cyclops freaks out like, "Hey, that was a whisker away from hitting the Professor," which also wasn't. So Cyclops really should check his lenses. And
Also, he looks like he's trying to catch it in his ass.
what?
Like he
The
catches it
behind-the-back
behind his
catch.
back.
He does.
Like he's gonna dunk it into his ass.
And then, like, as Cyclops is like, "Hey, you almost hurt the Professor," and Beast is like, "Come on, we know what we're doing. You'd think we want to hurt him?" The Professor's like, "Cyclops, hurt them."
Kill him.
Treat them as your enemies.
Do it.
And
He blasts the crap out of Beast.
he
He's like
does.
stuck in the wall.
And then Iceman just puts an ice cube around himself, and he blasts through that. And then this fucking traitorous asshole that is Xavier is like, "Hey, Angel, get in on this. Fuck up Scott."
He's just enjoying watching children fight.
He's like, you ever seen Semi-Pro?
Yeah.
When they go to commercial and Will Ferrell's just like, "Somebody hit somebody."
And then as Cyclops is beating the shit out of his 3 other teammates, Xavier's like, all right, stop immediately. I sense a hot chick's here.
Collaborate and listen.
And he tells them that there's a lady who's highly attractive who's about to show up.
Yep, and she's 15.
Yep.
So, yep, Xavier's a creep. Like
He is a creep.
We've been saying since the first episode of this podcast.
And they laid the groundwork in the first issue of this comic book.
Yep.
Because he's talking to them, but he looks like he's really just thinking to himself because he's rubbing his chin. He's like, a most attractive young lady. He's not looking at him either. He's just saying that out loud.
And then Angel's like, oh, I'm so sorry, Professor. I thought I tucked you in properly. I see a wrinkle. Right there. Let me get that for you. Hey, how come it's not going down?
I hope there's somebody just in the situations who's like, understands what's going on. So he's like, such an attractive lady. And they're like, what the fuck? Like,
Probably Iceman thinking that.
seriously?
And then right away, they all want to go out and check out Jean's. Like, there's a lady? She's hot? And Iceman's like, who needs girls?
A girl, big deal.
Yeah.
Let's start wrestling again.
So they all change into their plain clothes, and Jean's introduced to them, and right away they're like, oh man, she's super hot, and Beast's like, Slim, bring her a chair, and he's like, and Slim being Scott, because they didn't actually give them names yet, and he's like, I'd bring her all the furniture if she'd asked, and then she's like, none of that's necessary, because powers, and then like shows she's got telekinesis. And then Beast's all like, just rape. I was going to say statutory rape, but I think they're the same age. And then she's like...
I think it's still statutory.
Is it? I thought it was if it's an older person with a minor.
I think it would still... If they're both underage, it's...
Well, I think if it's consensual, right, it's still technically statutory rape on both parties.
Yeah, but not being statutory doesn't make it just straight rape.
No. But it being forceful.
Yeah.
Like, he's just straight up, give me that face. And she's like, you know what? I'll spin you around in the air because telekinesis. It's what my mind do.
At this point, Cyclops, his name is Slim.
Yeah, Slim Summers. But
They didn't give him Scott yet.
also, Jean's like, oh, what's my power? Look how fast I can read this book.
Without
So
touching
fast.
it.
No hands.
She's like not even reading it. She's just flipping through the pages really fast.
Done.
Like, look how great I am.
I'm just saying, Beast should be Me Too'd.
Oh, yeah. This is back in the 60s where that's apparently acceptable.
Enter Magneto. As Xavier's talking about bad mutants out there and clearly omitting himself.
Wait, that's Uatu.
Are you talking about his fucking head over the earth?
Show me what you got.
Which is very Xavier sounding.
It's just a giant
goes-
head floating above Earth.
Giant bald head. Half of his head is his forehead.
Yeah.
Or half of his whole, yeah.
So Magneto was apparently NASA was trying to do all these secret shuttle launches, and he's just like, no, and magnetically changes the trajectory of the rockets, and then they all fail, and apparently they try it 6 different times, and he's like, I need to push this up a notch. I'm going to take over this whole military base. And so then he uses, and you know what? I have to apologize because I have been such a dick to that Apocalypse movie because.
Fuck yourself. Because.
No, because I thought you were going to say it's a terrible movie overall, and that is true. Because Magneto and the dust thing, and I was always like, since when could he just fucking float dust? And apparently, it's right there in the comic. In number 1, he uses, it says dust particles, so he is the master of dust and magnetism.
Did you really think that was such a big deal?
A little bit. It bugged me, man.
Well, also, they're at a military base. There's fragments of metal.
Particles.
Yeah, but they say dust. They say dust in the comic. Either way.
Yeah, but he writes him a cute little note.
Well, it's a very sinister note with a cute...
Yeah, it's cute undertone.
Yeah.
It says, surrender the base or I'll take it by force. Magneto.
Yeah.
He writes his name in cursive, like sideways, all cute, like.
The message is like the stance he's in, right? It shows like the power and ferocity of his words and like his stature. but then his signature is his costume.
I feel like he's like, I'm legitimate. Because, Toad wouldn't sign shit.
Well, he's wearing kind of purple underwear outside of his pants there, so...
If he's so legitimate, why did he make that in Comic Sans?
Because he's a rebel?
So use the most basic font style?
Yeah, and so he basically is like, all right, I'll take it by force then, and he starts just beating up soldiers at Cape Citadel. And they're like, what are we going to do? And they try to, like, get through his force field, and they can't because, magnets, that's how they work.
Stop referencing ICP, I'm begging you. Every time, I'm going to be so upset when we cover Magneto. That's going to be like 5 weeks of just like, well, how do they work?
He doesn't do this enough. I like when he does this. The magnetic barrier, where stuff can't get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely like an old school thing. He like never does it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the X-Men are preparing to go. Jean's, like, getting dressed first in her suit, and then the guys are, like, peeping on her, and she's like, oh, you guys are being creeps. She's like, nuh-uh, not even sort of like that.
Yeah, but they totally were.
But they totally were. Then...
Bobby's being a gentleman.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because he does actually start hitting on her at that point. Sort of. He's like, she looks poured into that suit, or something like that.
Yeah, she was poured into that uniform. Coincidentally, Xavier ordered that thing too small.
Probably. And then Xavier's like, fuck it, all you get suited up because we're going out to beat up a magnet.
Just a magnet.
Just a magnet.
He didn't know the guy was there.
To the rolls!
Iceman's like, I get ready faster than you guys because I'm just naked in some boots.
Except he's actually the slowest, and he's like, hold on, I just need to get my boots on. They're my dancing boots. And then what I love, too, is that they go out of their way to be like, and this Rolls Royce is like a custom-built, super badass, and its feature is it's got dark windows.
Yeah, they tinted the windows.
So you can't see the freaky muties inside.
Yeah, that thing's not even street legal.
Can you imagine, like, trying to sit in there with 4 other people, and one of them has wings, and they're just batting you in the face? Because he just unwrapped his wings. Like, that was the whole big deal. It was like, I can't wait to fly there, and Xavier's like, nope, to the rolls.
I feel like it'd be like that scene in Always Sunny, when they're in the van with double tinted windows and they're all the canisters of gasoline and Charlie cut the brakes.
So they get there, and right away Cyclops is trying to be like, hey guys, so we're gonna take over from you guys because I see you're having a hard time. Like I am with this sentence.
Say only the leadership confidence of Cyclops could speak in such a way.
And the guy's like, another fucking costume freak. Get out of here. I'm really dealing with one guy. He's wearing magenta and purple.
We're having enough trouble with one guy in a cornball costume.
Yeah.
Then Cyclops cries and leaves.
Cries these laser tears.
No, he's actually just sort of like, whatever, out of the way. We're just doing it. And they kind of do just storm through. Like, Jean just throws everyone, like all the soldiers, aside with her telekinesis. And then Cyclops just starts shooting the magnetic field, and it won't get through because magnets.
Don't you dare.
That's how they work.
God damn it.
He acts like he's got a switch. He's like, I'll switch to maximum power.
Right?
Where's the switch? I can't find it. It looks like he's blasting out of his whole face, not just his eyes either. His whole face is like...
His head just exploded.
It just opened up. And then Magneto's like, fuck it. I'm firing their own missiles at them.
I'm firing my laser.
So he shoots the missiles. And then the X-Men, crazy enough, they just stop the missiles. Beast even catches one in his feet, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because that's how missiles work.
Yeah. Which, like, Magneto, why did he even bother pushing a button? He might as well have just magneted them up.
Get a little bit of snow on those missiles, they're done for. They're not waterproof.
And he just throws a bunch of rubble onto Cyclops, and he's like, no, and shoots out of it. It's like, you can't stop me with metal.
He's the gingerbread man.
So the X-Men then fight Magneto. It's pretty tough because, barrier, but then not tough at all because, superheroes. And he runs away. He's like, I can't do this. And they're like, we fucking did it.
Yeah.
And Xavier's like, my head's in the clouds, literally.
Whenever I see this, he's that baby from, what's that?
Teletubbies?
Yeah.
The sun. See, I was thinking when they light that oil tank on fire, because they light the rocket fuel on fire on accident, and Magneto looks like Hank Hill going, "Whoa!"
Yeah, he is not as menacing now as he became because he was like hiding behind stuff too, looking at him from the corner.
Damn it, Bobby! Stop throwing snow at me.
What I think probably one of my favorite callbacks to this moment, though, is in that that sort of Road to Schism book, the Magneto one. Aside from like his whole point being Cyclops was a good Jew, because that was weird. He goes back to that moment and like, yeah, I was scared.
Oh, when Cyclops was blasting him?
Yeah, when he was blasting the field, and he's like, yeah, I'm not ashamed to admit that I blinked first. Which also, duh.
15-year-old.
Because if he blinked, the beam would have stopped.
When you
At
look
least a little bit.
That's never shown. That's hilarious to think about, though, that he's got a blink. So it's like cutting off the beam for a second.
Nah, bruh. He's like Eminem in that one song where he just goes off bars about how he never shuts his eyes. Like, not even when he sneezes.
He like cuts his eyelids off.
But because when he gets blasted by Cyclops in that image, he looks like some drunk dude who just fell over and hit the table. Because he's got his leg all bent, all the stuff from the table's on the ground, and his arms over his head.
This reminded me of like a Family Guy thing. when they trip or like get hit and they fall down, they just fall in like the worst way, like where their limbs just go all over the place. Yeah, literally that. Holy shit. That's the Family Guy fall.
Hang on a second. Sleeveless shirt, backwards hat, Family Guy reference, talking about ICP. Are you a goddamn bro?
No. And also, you gotta like pick a lane, man. Am I a hipster or am I a bro?
You've been leaning heavy into bro lately.
And also, their reference is making fun of ICP because they don't know how magnets work. So, I don't think that's how.
They should have read more X-Men, obviously.
Yeah, they'd know.
So you're saying
Every time you see Magneto,
when it comes to
how
you,
magnets work.
When it comes to you and Juggalos, you're polar opposites. So on to giant size X-Men.
Yeah.
Good 20 minutes.
So, giant size X-Men or Ocean's 8, 13. There's 13 of them at the end.
You're not good at counting.
No, I was trying to remember how many was on the team, the new Genesis team. But, like, that's exactly how it starts, though, basically. Like how the Rick and Morty episode recently, where they kind of make fun of that. Like, Xavier's basically going around and he's like, Nightcrawler. And he's like, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah.
Wolverine, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
We'll get to it, but like the person who is like so down at the beginning when he's like, "Hey, I'm doing it," and they're like, "I'm in." Like is the person who questions every fucking thing. He's like, "This is stupid. I'm not a part of your plan."
So, it starts with Nightcrawler running away from a mob that want to kill him because, he looks like a demon. And he's like, this isn't fair. I don't choose the way I look. Maybe I should have stayed in the circus, but that wasn't a life for me.
And
Pirate life is for him.
He'll forever mention loving the circus, though.
I know.
In the Munich circus. I was known as the Incredible Nightcrawler.
And so a guy who looks strikingly like William Stryker is like, throw torches at our own homes to burn them out. And he's like, are you fucking serious? You're burning down your own house to get to me? Holy shit. And I thought maybe he didn't have the teleportation power yet. Like, I thought maybe that was like later, but we see him use it later in this book. So it's like, why didn't you just teleport, dude?
Because he wants to dive into the crowd head first.
And that's what he does. He's just like, you know what? I came here to learn, and what you taught me, violence.
You learned that from
I'll show
Chris
you what I
Benoit.
learned.
Headbutt off the top rope.
This is the mascot for our podcast. It's Chris Benoit.
Oh no. That guy murdered his family.
That's exactly what he does. He jumps off the roof, and then he looks like half of his body is inside of that dude. All you see is ass and legs.
Actually, I don't think we told you. We might not have told you about this, but Wolverine is Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Short Canadian rabbit with a Wolverine nickname. Murders people close to him. Head injuries.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if things would have went a little bit differently, I would fan cast Benoit as Wolverine.
So anyway, Nightcrawler is starting to get beat by the mob, and this is why I don't understand why he didn't teleport. But Xavier just shows up and he's like, "Stop!" And they all stop, and he's like, "You, freaky one, join my circus." And he's like, "Yeah, all right, that's better than being here."
Right, I was about to get staked. I guess I'll do it.
The voice that you use for Xavier makes me think that when he uses his psychic powers, he like puts his hand out and goes, nee, 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 nee.
Of course he does. He 100% does.
His dialogue is funny because Kurt's like, "What has happened to them?" Xavier, "I happened to them."
It was me.
Trying to be all badass.
And then this next page was so weird. So it's Wolverine getting recruited, and he shows up and he's like, "All right, who am I supposed to meet with here?" And Xavier's like, "I'm the guy you're supposed to meet with here." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
That's more of the funny dialogue. She's like, "Who's this bigwig?" Xavier, "I am the bigwig."
And I'm bald. It's ironic.
God damn it.
But they say that he's Weapon X and Wolverine just has this air about him that like, yeah, I work for Weapon X. Who gives a fuck? Like, there's none of that torture and stuff. Obviously, that's all made later. Yeah. But like,
no, they're not Weapon X. They're just the Canadian government.
Yeah, but sorta. He is Weapon X to them. Like, that's how they set it up.
He is Weapon X, but they're not a part of the Weapon X program. They just know he is Weapon X.
But they do say that they spent money on him.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They said they spent money making him what he is. So that's what's implied.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Psh, I don't give a shit. I go where I want to go."
I quit. Put my claws on the table. He's like, trying to...
But it's funny because he's like, "What about my position here?" Like, he doesn't want to leave, and then the other guy's like, "You can't leave." He's like, "Man, fuck this place."
I'll let you murder anybody you want. And he's like, "All right, sweet."
And that general, whoever that is like, "We spent money on you. You're not going to leave. This is not the last you're going to hear or see of us." And he's like, "I'll cut your tie." And he does.
Now you got to buy a new one.
"You want to run that by me again?" And he's like, "All right, fine, go." And then, real quick, Banshee, is that like a play or whatever the shit?
The Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah, that's a place. So whatever the fuck's happening there, I'm assuming is a play. Cause,
yeah, he gets a whole 2 panels.
Yep. Xavier shows up and he's like, "Hey, want to be on my team?" He's like, "You son of a bitch, I'm in."
Yeah, and then Sunspot also gets like 2 panels, like 2 or 3 panels.
And then Storm, just naked.
Oh, yeah. She was naked all the time.
Like,
yeah, wasn't there a whole thing back
point of
then
leaving
that
that
like she'd walk around the mansion naked?
Yeah.
And like people were uncomfortable with that.
She was like, "Let's just shower right here in the living room."
Just
naked.
Makes a cloud.
But yeah, she also like teleports here by some weird portal. How did this happen? I never noticed it the first time I read this. They walk up to this portal.
yeah, and then she's just suddenly there.
I mean, she might be like real into theatrics and just made like
She
lightning
is.
strike with like fog and then just like flew down and it's like, "I teleported."
Well, she's playing at being a goddess, right? Like, that's the whole point. And they're all like, "Goddess, we're in a drought. We need rain." She's like, "I got you." And she makes rain. And Xavier's like, "Hey."
Yeah, she's like, "Keep your chickens."
Right? Because they're like, "How many chickens and goats should we slaughter
She calls them beasts.
for you?" Yeah, and she's like, you know, I'm a vegan. I don't need any of that
It's
stuff.
like, "Bring me a couple apples." And
You know, you got an attic? I could use an attic.
But it's strange because, yeah, they're slaughtering goats and chickens. And she says, save your beasts. Dude, what did the goats ever do to you? And the chickens?
Well, she saved their lives, so...
Well, it's
Yeah, true.
It's a call ahead to when she actually saves Beast.
Which she doesn't. He's not there. You know? He's with the
Eventually,
Avengers.
though.
Yeah. The dialogue, or the monologue, I guess, about Storm was probably my favorite writing in this book.
Yeah.
Talking about her, like, in the sky and stuff. It's like, she is happy here. Only truly happy here among the elements.
It's pretty sick.
Like, she is the elements, so it's like, they kind of... And, like,
She
they're
be.
everywhere. They're not just there. She can just be, like...
She be the elements.
Yeah, but, like, you can just be, like, outside anywhere, and there's elements
They're
there.
there. Yeah.
You can, like, start a fire, and there's ground and some water. Get her a bottle of water.
So it's, like, really dry. They go to her for the water. And it says, and the raging sky, touched by her happiness, weeps.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
She made it so wet.
Yep.
You got rain,
Yep. And so Xavier shows up and he's like, "Yo, want to join me? I'll make you a trade. You leave this life of being a fake goddess that's awesome, and you come to a place that where people aren't gonna like you at all."
Yeah. No, so I think I said Sunspot earlier, but it's Sunfire.
Yeah.
Like the car.
yeah, this was the one that didn't
The
make
American
any
classic.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, she's, like, loving it over there. She's, you know, touted as a god. He's like, yeah, how about you quit this fantasy land and come here and be hated?
There
She's
might
like,
be an attic in it for you if you go.
So you drive a hard bargain.
Yeah, but Sunfire though, yeah, again they give him 2 pages and are like,
No, not, just 2 panels.
or 2 panels is what I meant to say. Just 2 panels, and he's like, yeah, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
I mean, the reason being, though, is because both of them were already in X-Men books.
Yeah. Well, I just mean, like, so Xavier is coming to ask him, like, I think what Tony's doing is setting up the juxtaposition for later. So he's Xavier goes to him like, "Hey, so I gotta ask you for a favor," and he's like, "Say no more, fam. I understand the fact that you came here."
I'd do anything for you, brother. Anything you need, I'm there. Just ask, and I'll do whatever.
Sunfire says that?
Yeah, paraphrasing.
Paraphrasing.
Oh,
But that's like
are
his
you talking
attitude.
about
He's
him?
like, I got you. Like,
No, because I took it as, he says, I owe you jack shit. I'm doing this for myself.
yeah.
Yeah. Basically. But I just mean like he's on board
Easily.
right
What the
away.
hell is he doing for himself? How
Well, he
does
says-
he benefit?
Fitting in that uniform still?
Yeah, I just want to put the costume on and do some things.
He says, so I owe you nothing, Professor, but perhaps I owe something to myself.
Meanwhile, later.
It could be at the same time.
No, because Xavier is there, and then he has to be at the other place.
It's so weird how
And he has a Nightcrawler.
he rolls up everywhere. Like, if you think about, like, in
Of
Africa.
course he does. He's in a wheelchair.
Like, nobody saw
How'd he get to the top of
Xavier.
those stairs, though?
That's a question we'll never know.
He rolls up everywhere.
Because, you know, Storm's there in, like, the middle of Kenya or whatever, and Xavier's just rolling. Like, how long did it take him to roll there?
Like, he never was in, like, a plane. He rolled across the ocean.
Yeah, he just always shows up.
Well, in fairness, he waited for her to come down all those steps.
Yeah, he wasn't going out there. He was like, hopefully she comes down soon. I've been waiting here.
He's like, ma'am, could you come down here?
Like the whole time, she just couldn't hear him over the wind.
Yeah, then the thunder.
And that rain is just bouncing off his baby bald head, which is great.
Also, when we're about to get into the Colossus stuff, Xavier definitely made that tractor start from driving.
Right? And yeah, and so also though with Storm, he met his mortal enemies in stairs, so he couldn't ascend. But somehow he makes it to Russia, and
Russia's all stairs. We know that.
it's not a single escalator anywhere.
Yeah,
because that's the easy life.
if you ever
for
fly
pussies.
there, you know to get out of the airport, you have to take stairs.
I have no idea if you're just fucking around or if you're being serious.
Both.
Oh, okay. So anyway, he's farming, and he's like, "I love this farming life." Peter
Been
Rasputin.
spending most of my life.
And then suddenly he sees a tractor that is
Definitely
personless, but somehow still moving, just a runaway tractor. barreling toward his sister.
And how fast do tractors go? I swear this thing's going like 3 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's like the steamroller, the cement roller thing
Yeah, from Austin Powers.
Austin Powers.
Because they make it sound like it's going really fast, but I feel like he could have just like went inside and made a sandwich and then came back outside and just picked her up.
Well, he seemed like so far away from it. Yeah, you probably did that. That's why he got there so late. And then he smashes it because, of course, he does.
Only enough time to punch the tractor. That's it.
Did he punch it?
I think he just stood in front of it like,
Yeah,
He's got his
it's
fist
super
raised.
good. Yeah.
And it's a Quathum. That sounds like a punch to me.
Cthulhu. Or it's I don't know.
I feel like it would have just dented if it just hit him. Like, is it really going to explode into a million pieces from just running into him at
That's
3
all-
miles an
Yeah,
hour?
man, comics.
you ever seen a tractor from the 60s?
No.
Yeah, they're not made very well.
You ever see a Russian made of steel? And somehow
Russian tractors are just giant pieces of shit, man.
It's like that's how they all ended, all the tractors from the 60s. Like, once they go, get used too much, they just explode into a million pieces.
I mean, this one didn't even have reliable brakes.
No.
And then Xavier is like, you there, guy. I want you on my team in America. And he's like, I don't want to go.
Just shows up as the tractor's like hitting.
Yeah.
And nobody's like, did you do that? Because obviously you wanted to see the guy's
wheelchair.
powers.
Wheelchair, though.
Yeah, I mean, I still think he did it.
No. We know. Do they know?
No.
They should.
No.
like-
They don't know.
He rolled his chair all the way, like, into the back of the tractor repeatedly to get that thing to move.
That's funny. You just kept bumping into it.
Backing up and going.
Did it occur to him, just mind control someone to start it and jump off?
No, never.
And then Peter's like, all right, well, I got to ask my parents first. And he's like, hey, so should I go to America with this bald guy I just met? He says I'm a mutant. He can help me learn to use my powers. And they're like, you do whatever your heart tells you. And then he's like, well, my heart doesn't say to go at all.
Yeah, doesn't trust this guy.
And they're like, okay. And he's like, but my head, my conscience is saying maybe I should go. And
He's
they're
definitely
like,
not making me think
then you
that.
go do that. Right? Like the guy with psychic powers is definitely not fucking with your head when your head is the one thing saying go.
Right, and he clearly knows how to use his powers. But I guess Xavier's going to teach him more how to turn his metal on and off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he did it pretty fast.
Yeah.
And so Colossus was like, you son of a bitch. I'm in.
You son of a bitch.
And then to the most racist character
Xavier?
for several reasons.
Xavier
No.
is the most racist character.
Thunderbird, man. Thunderbird's racist in the portrayal, but also in what he says.
Yeah, but also Xavier's like, man, I heard about you engines.
So, John, right? John Prowlstar?
Yeah.
Because James is
Little bird.
Warpath.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I thought you said Warbrath for a minute.
No.
And I pictured Zach Braff.
No, I said path weird. I think I said prath,
But
but Warpath.
do you have the same mental image I do, though, of Zach Braff? Just,
In Warpaint?
yeah, just killing people.
So he's really just partaking in animal abuse. He just finds a buffalo and is like, you know what? Because I am upset with my with my society, fuck you, buffalo. I'm a real man. And just like DDTs it. Basically.
I like to think he was going to eat that buffalo, though.
But like he wasn't though.
Like Raw. Just
Right.
pick it up
He's
by the
gonna rip
horns.
its heart out.
He's just beating the shit out of a buffalo, and then he's like, what do you want, white man?
Well, see, he was going to eat it until Xavier showed up and spoiled dinner.
Well,
And also, like, I get why he's not trusting of white people.
yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure. That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
It's that he calls Sunfire a Jap.
Yeah. There's a lot of racist shit in this.
Yeah.
And they tried to spread it out to give everybody one, but they call Banshee Irish. I'm like, what a lazy slur. Like that and Chinaman are just like, you didn't even try.
Not at all. But anyway, he's like, because Xavier shows up, he's like, hey, I could use a man of your skills. And he's like, how about you fuck off? How'd you even get here in a wheelchair? You know what? I don't care.
Tells him to stuff a cactus.
He
and
does.
That's worth noting.
He does. And that was great.
Calls him Custer.
He really doesn't trust white people.
Yeah.
And Xavier's like, you know what? You're right. There are no real Apache left. And he's like, oh, I see what you're doing, but you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, he's like, you know what make this guy trust me? Racism.
And then everyone's like, oh, look at these new clothes. And I mean, Storm's like, oh, look at these clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a good example. This is an Xavier's a dick moment here because he literally eggs Proudstar on.
This whole book is an Xavier's a dick
But this
moment.
is the worst one because he literally disses the Apache people, like taunts him to get him to join.
Yeah.
He's a
Well,
child.
he uses his own thoughts, though. Like, he was reading John's mind, and John
Against
was having
his
those thoughts.
permission.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
also that
But
makes
of course
it,
he is.
That makes it even more racist because he could have just been like, hey, no, you're coming with me. But instead he was like, I'll be racist. Like he had other options, and then but was like, no, I'm doing racism.
No, I'm doing racism.
I could just like put the idea in his head that he should trust me and come with me, but I'm gonna do racism.
What I thought was weird is that Nightcrawler was always in his suit.
It's a circus suit.
Right? That's the only explanation, but like even then.
Well, can you picture him
It
in
doesn't
like
make
some
sense.
khakis and?
No, he could have been in some weird, like, I mean, he was being chased by a mob of people, so he could have been in some sort of tattered clothing, like he was already attacked or whatever. And then he gets the suit now, like half the other cast are getting their suits now, except they don't. And sure, it's a circus suit, but that also means it's not as good as these suits that they just got that are like all superhero-fied.
Well,
So he's got a lesser thing now.
Most of the X-Men had the same design at the time, and I think when he saved Nightcrawler, because he saved Nightcrawler first, he sees the suit, and he's like, that's pretty dope. I'm going to make everybody something like this. Because he, like, Warpath, color scheme, and then Colossus, he's got the shoulder things.
Yeah. He's
Wolverine also already had his.
And Sunfire and
and
Banshee.
Sunfire and Banshee, yeah.
Yeah. So he just made 3 suits.
Sure.
I like to think he remade Nightcrawler's a little sturdier.
I don't believe that.
Don't think
Not
so?
for a second.
Probably not.
Has he ever once tried to make his house sturdier?
No. Things made it strong.
That thing gets blown up all the goddamn time.
That's on purpose.
Yeah.
He cheapens out on it because he knows it's going to get blown up.
He can claim that insurance.
Yeah, yeah, that's how he made his fortune, was just all the villain attacks, just keeps on claiming insurance.
Coincidentally by his stepbrother over and over again.
So right away, Sunfire is like, all right, you bald, wheelchaired bastard.
That's exactly what he says.
I'm tired of waiting around here.
You stupid curly-headed fuck.
What did you What did you bring us all here for? And he's like, well, to be fair, I was waiting. And he like just sort of puts it all off on Scott. It's like it's his fault. So Cyclops comes through the door and he's like, all right, so some shit happened. You know what? I better just show you what happened. And they go to Cerebro and he's like, this is our mutant finding machine. It found you guys. And my friends aren't being picked up from it anymore, but I like kind of remember where we were, because I suffer amnesia right now. Like I just remember we were like, hey, there's a mutant on this island. The island was terrible, and then like a big flash hit us, and then suddenly I'm in the jet flying back with no memory, and my powers are gone. And I get back and I talk to Xavier, and he's like, Scott, you're about to shoot me in the face. Maybe put some glasses on. He's like, what? No. And then my powers went crazy, and I blew myself into a wall.
That's talent. He still said he blew himself. I also got to point out, though, when Cyclops walks into the room, I picture in my head that moment in police shows, or South Park did it, where they're like, who's in charge here? And Xavier's like, that would be me. And Scott walks in, he's like, not anymore, you're not.
So, Cyclops basically recaps the entire thing of how, like, okay, so we got to go rescue them. because we got attacked by some crazy mutant, and we need help to go there. And so Sunfire's like, fuck this.
Trees? Tell me there's trees.
On Krakoa, that's where they're going.
Like, what? You didn't tell me this was a suicide mission that you already lost people for? I'm out.
I'm thinking that they told him, like, hey, it's a tropical island. And in his head, he's like, the trees I can handle because, fire burns grass. But the island part, surrounded by water, is a tricky game of rock, paper, scissors.
He was looking for an easy way out because he was trying to make himself look good. He says, I'm going to do something for me. It's time the world hears of Sunfire.
And
Nope, not this one.
It doesn't matter at all that he does that.
No.
Because they start flying in the jet, and he, like, just follows behind them.
He was just trying to look cool in front of his friends.
Yeah, he just wanted to be like, well, I can fly.
He's like, who's coming with me?
And then, so they get in the jet, they fly off, and then Sunfire's like, hey, let me in the jet. Do I gotta, like, fly to catch up with you guys the entire time? He's like, what? What? You just said you didn't want to go. You do want to go? Well, we're already flying. It's a jet. It's not a helicopter. You know how hard that is to take off in a jet and then, like, have to land a jet immediately after taking off? You know how much fuel you just wasted, guy?
Just open the hatch.
And we just read that issue where they burned all the rocket fuel, so...
Chapter 3 sounds like a Super Nintendo video game. Assault Force.
Sounds like a dope-ass Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it does.
I play the shit out of Assault Force.
By the way,
It's way better than two crude dudes.
John Proudstar's exact words are, well, I'll be jiggered. It's the Jap.
Yeah.
Pretty rough.
This hasn't aged well.
No. I almost feel like those are supposed to be bleeped.
Yeah, but they're not.
So anyway, Cyclops then makes teams after he's like, all right, so Thunderbird, you're going to be with me. And he's like, my name's not Thunderbird. And he's like, Xavier gave us all code names. So
It is now.
It is now.
Yeah.
You deal with it. He's like, Proudstar. It's Proudstar. It's like, nah, Thunderbird.
It's too much like your
Shatterstar.
You can be Shatterstar. Are we going to go there?
still available for now.
So he makes 4 teams that are supposed to take on the island from different points of the island. So, like, the North Assault Team is Storm and Colossus, and the East Assault Team is Banshee and Wolverine, and the South is Sunfire and Nightcrawler, and then the West is Cyclops and Thunderbird. Ironically, Thunderbird, the only character named Bird and cannot fly in this team. Because, like, each one of these is like there's a flyer and a non-flyer, and the flyer helps the non-flyer down. And Cyclops is landing the ship with him and Thunderbird.
To be fair, a bird fell out of my parents' tree the other day and died. So, not implausible.
I think James can fly now, right?
Yeah, he can fly like a little bit. He can fly like at a pace of a light jog, so he doesn't really do it.
So it's like Jessica Jones.
So it's not pretty good.
It's just
No,
like
it's not
clumsily
efficient
flying.
Like Colin Ferguson in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
He's flying when
He
it's like
can't even
swimming.
go at a light jog. He can go at like an old person walking speed.
Like a backstroke during water Pilates or something. Yeah, so they all get out, and they're supposed to be looking for a mutant on the island.
And it turns into a hentai.
What?
It does turn.
Oh, okay.
All those tentacles.
all right. I know what you're talking about. So, yeah, Cyclops and Thunderbird are like, well, Cyclops right away is like, oh, shit, I forgot the pocket cerebro in the ship. And then he turns around, and the jet's just gone. Like, what the fuck? And then they turn, and there's, like, a temple, and it's like, where the ship... Did that temple come from? That wasn't there before.
Yeah.
And the jet's just gone.
Also, nobody is mad at Cyclops for dropping them all off at different places and then flying directly where they were supposed to be.
He didn't fly directly where they're supposed to be. I think the temple sort of shows up in the middle, and they're all on different sides.
It does. Well, no, it shows it like it's pretty damn close to them. But from anybody else's perspective, Cyclops just kind of dropped them off and flew right to the to the temple he needed to be at.
No, it's pretty far. It's that panel there, on the far left. It seems pretty far.
I don't know, man. It's hard to tell. It looks like it's just through like 4 bushes, and they're at the temple.
Well, sort of, yeah, right? So they go and they just trip over some vines, and then they get there. Kinda. I mean, the vines are alive and they're attacking them, but then they beat up the vines pretty easily.
Coincidentally, this works out. It says 14 minutes later.
Yeah, and they do get there.
Very specific, man. 14 minutes later.
And they do get there way before everybody else.
But, no, I think that was implied just before, right? Because then they go... Because it's like... Meanwhile, a little while back, and it shows Storm and Colossus' perspective, and they're attacked by rocks. Like, it's like an avalanche that then just follows them. And Colossus is like, no, you don't, and he starts punching it. And Storm's just like, I'll use wind.
Sunfire's like, fuck, they got rock types here. My other weakness.
Which is crazy, because, like, Storm's kind of a flying type, and she uses Gust to beat a bunch of rocks, so...
She's never
calling
she's
bullshit.
Clearly never played Pokemon.
Yeah.
She's following Mega Man rules, which are all weird.
And then they show up at the temple, like, just a little bit after Cyclops and Thunderbird. And then you have, this is probably my favorite one. No, second to favorite. Banshee and Wolverine just fighting giant lobsters. Because, of course. And Wolverine's all like, aren't you glad you're with a guy who also has claws? And just starts using his claws to stab lobsters.
That would be some tasty lobster.
Would it, though?
Yeah. They're
Would
that
it?
big.
Isn't, like, the bigger the lobster, the worse the meat it has?
Is that?
I think so, because they're old. For a lobster to be that big, it is like 1,000 years old.
But that's not how it works.
Well, they're bottom feeders, right? So that's like a lot of garbage
Yeah.
over time.
Probably.
But I mean, originally it was sold as garbage meat, and then they were like, hey, nobody wants this, we'll market it to rich people.
But to get that jacked as a lobster, they're eating pure, pure protein.
They're eating smaller lobsters.
They got creatine shakes.
So it's like Larry the Lobster and SpongeBob.
Exactly.
So they beat them up because, lobsters. Why would that stop them? And then, of course, they show up at the temple. And then my favorite is just Nightcrawler and Firestar fighting birds. Just
Regular birds.
Just regular birds.
So it's just kind of annoying.
And Nightcrawler's all like, this one's getting really close to me. Better teleport now, all of a sudden. Not when there's a mob of people beating the shit out of me. But when a bird's about to claw me with its talon.
You can only do it like once every week.
Oh, so he like wasted it then?
Yeah, he's like, a mob carrying torches. Like,
He probably,
I don't want to use it right now. There might be birds later.
He probably wasted it checking out his sister while
Oh.
she was changing and then like disappearing before she could catch him.
Because they're supposed to be like learning their powers from Xavier, but I feel like he just picked them up and was like, all right, now go save my real team, and then you guys are done.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
No training.
There's, when they get their costumes, there's a small mention of he used his telepathy to bridge the language barriers between everyone. So everyone understands English, and that's it.
That's the only thing he taught him.
Yeah. Well, he technically tried a whole different invasive approach. We'll find out when we read Deadly Genesis that, also didn't work. So he knew that wasn't going to work. I was trying not to cut
Just
you off.
fuck Xavier.
Okay.
Xavier is a monster.
So they all meet at the temple, and they're like, it's fucking empty. There's just like no, there's a door there. I thought they went in and there was like a wall, but no, I remember it's the door. They can't get through it. And so Cyclops is like, all right, everybody, shoot it or hit it.
I stand corrected.
Kick its ass.
When that tractor hit Colossus, it was a Quathum, and his punch is a Quaroom. So he didn't punch a tractor.
What you're saying is you're ready to apologize to us?
Yeah,
Right.
I'm sorry.
It clearly just ran into a steel Russian guy
I think with time
Exploded.
we'll be able to learn to forgive you.
I hope so.
in time.
So they kick that door's ass.
Yeah, they beat the shit out of that door. And then they see the original X-Men plus Havoc and
Polaris.
Lorna. Yeah.
Minus Beast.
Right. Because he didn't even have the balls to help with this rescue mission.
I mean, you could have just Finish that sentence halfway through.
He didn't have the balls.
Yeah, he just didn't have balls.
Well, as we covered, he does. He rubs them on his ass, bowling balls. So they break through it, and they see the X-Men are getting drained, and they start rescuing them from these vines because, again, they turned it sort of into a hentai at this point.
And there's a big monument, or a big cave painting of Colossus destroying the
That's what we should make a logo, is our logo in Colossus's hands.
Like destroying it?
Yeah. So that'll be another shirt we'll do.
So anyway, fucking Warren wakes up, and he's like, Cyclops, you fool. It was hungry. You brought it what it wanted. And then the island manifests into a humanoid that's like, yes, you are a fool, because I let you go so you can bring me more mutants, and now I'll feast forever. And it's like, really?
Yep.
Off of 13 people?
Later I'll be your lawn.
and then some.
Yeah.
Angel was like, it's a trap. Yeah, I do like the art for Krakoa. This is...
Yeah, it looks kind of like Man-Thing.
Yeah.
Like Man-Thing mixed with a Brood.
It's the giant size Man-Thing.
Not the name of my sex tape. Unfortunately. The appropriately adequate sized Man-Thing, I think, is the name of mine. So anyway, that's when we get this chapter 4, Krakoa, the island that walks like a man.
Yeah, a bit wordy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Speaking of wordy, Krakoa can talk.
Oh yeah, and he does it.
He does it, and then never again.
Yeah. He forgets English after this and invents his own language.
Or it does it, or they do it. It could be gender binary. You don't know.
But he banged that other island.
He
Yeah.
did bang that other island. Yeah,
I wonder
guess
who
it's
was
the guy.
the bottom in that scenario.
And also, he walks like a
The
man,
other island.
not like
Oh,
a
yeah.
woman.
What is that even supposed to mean?
We're trying to figure out what gender he is. He walks like a man. He's the
Yeah, it's
island
how
that
would
walks
you
like the
define
man.
that?
Anyway, so holy shit. So they all start fighting it, and Krakoa doesn't really give a shit. And it's just a giant melee, and eventually Xavier is like, "Oh, you fucking idiots! All right, I got a plan. You got to fight it all together at one time." And they're like, "That's what we're doing. We're all hitting it at once."
I always hate that trope that they do in movies and comics and shit, where it's like everybody attacks a thing, and they're like, "No, we got to work it as a team." So then everybody attacks a thing,
Yeah.
and now it's teamwork.
Yeah.
And they win.
But I guess setting up a move, basically. What I thought was weird, though, is they showed that when Cyclops got let go, because he was being drained, he lost his powers. And then they came back after he made it back to Westchester. But Iceman and Havoc and those guys, they all have their powers immediately. Except for Lorna. Polaris doesn't have her powers, and like that's Xavier's whole plan is like, Storm, charge up Polaris so she can have her powers back, and then we're going to do some comic shit that's not going to make any sense.
She just murders her with electricity.
Basically.
It didn't work.
So Storm creates a giant thunderbolt and hits Lorna, and Lorna uses that to amplify like magnet waves, because that's how magnets work.
God damn it.
Again, Lorna is super, like, she's getting off right now, basically.
Kinda, because she does say don't stop.
Lord, whatever you do, don't stop.
Verbatim. And then Havoc is like, if you hurt her, but really I think he's like, how am I supposed to
Compete
compete with this? She's like threatening Cyclops, and Cyclops is like, look, dude, I know it's awkward for all of us to see your girlfriend get off right now, but we need to stop this monster.
They didn't show below her waist because she's on a Sibian machine.
She's saying don't stop, and Havoc's like, stop, stop.
That's what Storm's powering with the electricity.
And so then anyway, Xavier's plan is for Lorna to create this giant, like, weird, like, magnetic wave thing, and then for the Summers brothers to cross streams into it.
Yep.
So she creates this magnet vagina and has these two guys shoot their loads, basically, into said magnet vagina. And then...
That's how babies are made.
Well, it's apparently how Krakoas get launched into space, because I'm trying to... I still don't understand this. It shoots through Krakoa, through the ocean, 5 miles of ocean, right? 4,000 miles of the Earth's crust into the molten core, and then it's like... And then you know how the rest turns out. No, I don't. How does any of this make any more sense? And Krakoa's like, oh, well, actually, the funniest part, maybe, is that right before this happened specifically, in order to create the lightning, Storm is making it rain. And Krakoa's like, ya bitches, I'm a plant.
Unlimited power!
Which also, no? I thought you ate mutants. But you eat water?
Both.
He's a mutant island.
Well, he drinks water and eats
Plants.
mutants.
I know, but it's like I'm being fueled because of the water, and it's like, dude, if the water fueled you, why the mutants?
It's in a weird area.
Meat's
because
murder, man.
It's water, and also like he's a grass type, yeah, but he's also a ground type, so we're not sure how it's supposed to work out for him.
Oh. Either way, it cut Xavier's connection when he telepathically, and so he goes from like, I have all the power, to they shoot that giant load down to the Earth's core, and then he's like, I'm losing all my power somehow. And they're like, Krakoa's falling apart. We got to get off this island, but we got nothing. And then Bobby's like, I'll make a raft, and they're all in an ice raft. And then they watch Krakoa shoot into space.
They somehow just... It lost all its gravity.
Yeah.
How that happened, no idea.
Well, because Lorna also, I guess, fucked with the Earth's magnetic field so that it, in that one spot, had no gravity. But I just don't understand the...
Well, I would just assume...
blow a hole through it, and then it flies off into space thing.
I assume that she reversed the polarity of Krakoa, so then instead of, like, being brought in with gravity, they, like, rejected each other.
You know what?
How magnets work?
That's solid. Yeah, I was going to say that is how magnets work. You beat me to it.
She blasted, it says, to sever the magnetic or the primary lines of magnetic force. Because there's lines for that.
So,
Okay.
yeah, you know, science.
Fair enough. I just remember thinking, like, that's weird.
Oh, it's, yeah.
Also, I
They
have to...
shoot down, and maybe it's sort of like one of those little, like, Hot Wheel cars, where they blasted the island down to pull it back just enough.
We reference those a lot.
Yeah, and then she helped accelerate it by reversing the polarity of gravity by fucking with, you know, how magnets work. And that shot the island into space.
It
All
sounds
right.
like it's tied. That's how they make it sound. It's tied on the bottom, like there's a little knot down there holding the island to the earth. She blasted all the way down there. Cut
Umbilical
the string.
cord.
So this is the second
cut
time
that.
we saw cut during this book. Just like Wolverine earlier.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got a tie earlier.
Yeah.
Fucking foreshadowing.
It all comes around full circle. Cut
Yeah,
this tie.
what you didn't see off panel is that guy's tie flew into outer space.
Speaking of circles, here's half a circle.
Now we're gonna have to make a shirt with Magneto that says how the magnets work. Oh, you can put him in clown face paint.
Oh, I really don't want to. So,
You don't want to make money?
anyway, Cyclops is like, that was great, but we also just created a whirlpool. So, real fast, Bobby, turn this into a dome. And so, Bobby makes the raft a dome. They got ice dome.
Bobby, give me dome.
He's like, I thought you'd never ask. I mean, oh, right.
Also, it kind of proves our whole point that we had the other day of Midas in our original Sin episodes. Like that the gold had to go all the way down to the bottom of the water because Bobby's is just on the top layer and they're floating towards the fucking... Like, they're floating all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Midas had to have had, like, a long strand of gold the size of a foot reach down to the bottom of the ocean floor.
Maybe if it's all instantaneous. Yeah, that makes sense. So then the water settles and they come out of the water after rattling around in there and inside this ice dome, and Cyclops shoots a hole in it because they need oxygen, and they're like, "Man, hey, our jet. Good thing it's waterproof," and fucking it doesn't sink. And so they get in the jet, and Angel's like, "Sorry guys, we only had so many seats for people to sit down." The end.
That's weird because on my arm. All right, now I kind of see the jet though. But how was the jet there?
Yeah, it just is.
It should be in space with Krakoa. Did it poop it out?
Yeah,
Presumably. Shit out the jet?
Yeah. Well, because you don't really know what happened to the jet. You just know Krakoa did something to it.
Definitely ate it.
Well, and it shit it out.
Their jet was full of chili, so
Dude.
it passed straight through.
It's like if Krakoa is like a person, right? Or man, like you said, he walked like a man. Well, he got killed. And what do you do when you get killed? You shit. So he ate that jet, he shit that jet.
Also, I didn't just say he walked. They said he walked like a man.
Yeah.
That's good.
But you
thinking,
said
though,
it to
right
me.
there. Makes sense.
Yeah. They kill the man thing that is not the man thing.
The thing that was a man.
And then it shits what it ate because it's dead, and what it ate was the jet, which happened to be airtight.
It's like, you guys don't know this, but I'm going to be your salvation once I come back from space. For a little bit, I'll just be your lawn, but then I'm going to be salvation for everybody.
And I'll still, like, sort of eat you guys every once in a while as your lawn.
I think he's holding a grudge.
Could you hold that book any louder?
I can try. Hickman's run's going to end with Krakoa just flipping out.
It just swallows everybody.
Yeah, he's tired of that crap.
I thought he developed, like, the perfect out, though, right? Like, Krakoa needs to slowly feed on mutant energy, and they're like, well, we just keep recreating ourselves all the time, so sure, man.
It just
You
keeps
eat,
eating them.
yeah, exactly. Krakoa's actively eating them while they're there.
It almost makes it dumber for me, though, that, my big problem with big events like what they're doing with Days of X is, like, nothing's gonna matter from it
Tens of Swords?
in like 5 years. No, the whole thing. Like, as soon as Hickman's run is done, it's all just gonna be forgotten.
Yeah, but Cyclops
Maybe.
has, like, a lightsaber, man.
Well, cause what are they gonna like? It's like the Genosha stuff, or like Nation X. Anytime they have like a big island like that, it doesn't really matter after.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on the writers, but I mean, it's quite possible all this is just going to go down the drain.
Well, yeah, it's X-Men.
Yeah.
It's like if I saw Daredevil start to date a new girl, I'm like, that's gonna go good. I bet they
Dude,
get
that's
married.
so funny. You know about the Chaz stuff going on?
The Chaz.
Yeah. Oh,
I feel like I've heard something of it. But.
So it's the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle. Like, a bunch of just super left woke people took it over. They conquered it. And they're like, this is ours now. And I remember thinking, like, no, you dummies. Don't you read X-Men books? You need it to be a living island first.
You gotta get they don't even have the plants that help you teleport.
Exactly. And they're and like their whole deal is like they're trying to make gardens to be self-sufficient, but they're like these little gardens, like lawn gardens for like an entire people. It's like, what are you doing? You need a living island that will feed you and then feed off of you symbiotically, and then
Symbiotically.
Symbiotically.
Yeah.
The symbiote.
Yeah, which, speaking of symbiotes, speaking of leftists, we have social media. So
What?
Twitter.
Oh, okay, I guess.
We have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Everything is at Mex-Men Podcasts. Go follow us. Like, not literally, like, on the social media. Don't find out where we are and then
drive here or fly here, then drive here.
Yeah,
and then
just
find out where we go, and then like just kind of walk behind us a little too close.
Yeah,
because that's weird.
Well, you turn around, they're just like hiding behind a trash can.
No, and then they just buy a banana.
not even hiding behind their whole costume is a trash can. So when you turn around, they just like sit down. Yeah, we have shirts.
Yeah, on TeePublic. Go buy it.
Yep, Also, phone cases and laptop cases and tapestries and
Onesies.
yeah, onesies and there's pillows. And
I'm sorry. What is a tapestry? We always say tapestries. And I
he
always
always
wonder
says
what
tapestry. I
It's
still
like a
say it.
blanket you hang from your wall.
Yeah.
Why?
In case you're like an emo kid.
Just
Good-
like a
that's really
poster,
good
you know.
question. It's so that you can like hide behind the tapestry if you keep it low enough. You have just your shoes sticking out of the
You know what? I'd love the idea too that
So
it's
people
like,
can murder you in your own house.
Yes.
It's like the beads like that go in a door in like a doorway
Yeah.
that just cover the entire doorway.
You might as well not
printed
have
on
a
the
door.
side is our logo of it.
We need that.
Yeah,
That'd be such a pain in the ass to manufacture.
100%.
Yeah.
We'll
you have to paint each
we'll-
individual bead and then place them.
We'll
no-
make 10.
That reminds me of the penny. You were saying it costs more to make a penny than what a penny's worth. It sounds like to make that thing, the bead door, costs more to make it than they sell for.
You'd be like 10 grand you would have to charge for that to be worth
Yeah,
the
but how
labor.
many times you see your abuela walk through it and you're like, this is home. You got rice and chicken.
Yeah, I know now that you said abuela, but I thought you said Ebola.
Abuela?
And I was like,
No, I said abuela.
yeah, I know, but I was genuinely confused for like a second and a half.
She could have Ebola, rice.
Yep, and I think that's for today.